right around the country on Foxtel's Aurora and on demand on YouTube. This is The Scene. It's about great Australian and West Australian music, brought to you by Atomic Beer. My name is Blake Williams. Hello and welcome to the show. And we are so excited today to announce as well our mates at Sound Centre Morley jumping on board to help us out with Season 7. If you're a musician living in WA, you would already know and already love Sound Centre, and we are stoked to have them on board for Season 7. As we get into it with a brand new episode, cast your mind back about 15 years or so when John Howard was our Prime Minister. Rove McManus took home the Gold Logie Award, and the band behind me were becoming one of the biggest bands in the country, of course. It is End of Fashion. Now, there's brand new music. There is a brand new tour. We'll chat all about it. But in the studio, let's go crazy for End of Fashion on The Scene. Here on Foxtel and on demand on YouTube. The show is all about great Australian music. How good in the studio audience was End of Fashion a few moments ago, everybody? Round of applause. Yeah. Thank you for joining us, everybody.
Welcome. No, pleasure to be here.
Thank you for welcoming me to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. The new single...
Please continue.
New single is out tomorrow. We'll talk about that in just a moment, plus the tour, and there's lots kind of happening in the camp, which is really, really exciting stuff. Let's go back quite a way, though, 15, 16 years, if we can cast our mind back that far. 2005 was a kind of a crazy year for a young Australian band that was End of Fashion. You know, massive singles, ARIA awards, big tours, that kind of stuff. It's kind of like a dream run for a young band. What was it like being at the middle of that cyclone, from your perspective?
I barely remember.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was a long time ago. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, no worries.
When you're in the middle of it, you're not really aware of it. It's just, you're just going sort of from one gig to the next and, you know, doing what you're told, being where you're told to be.
Was there a time, though, and I guess for everybody that's kind of been in these situations, but a time where, you know, you're doing what you're doing, you're playing gigs, but then you feel this momentum behind you, like you're getting airplay, you're getting bigger gigs, and you feel it kind of happening? Is there a moment where that happens?
Yeah, I think it's just all very exciting, especially when you're young and, yeah, I mean, you don't know what's just around the corner. But like I said, I mean, it's just go, just do it. There's not much time to sort of stop and smell the roses.
What would your schedule look like back then when you were kind of doing, you know, that kind of crazy schedule? What would that be?
I think it was 2005 or 2006 that we realised we'd spent a grand total of 6 weeks at home.
For the year?
For the year.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That wasn't just Australia as well, that was overseas too, right?
Yeah, it was all over the shop. I just remember that, like,
wow.
Our address was basically 747.
That's, yeah, sure. I mean, it's half of my mind goes, wow, that'd be amazing. Another part goes, oh my God, that'd be so tough.
It's like a really fun mobile prison.
Yeah. What advice would you have to young bands that are starting out, that are kind of getting to this point where they're starting to get momentum or really wanting that? Like, what would you go, I wish I'd done this differently, or what would you say to them? For anyone.
The borders.
That would help. Yeah, I think it's kind of one of those things that it's harder than it looks, and like it takes everything. So I don't know. I've always kind of said, unless you can't imagine doing anything else, do it. But if you can imagine doing something else, do something else.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It takes over your entire life. I mean, it's everything you are, and you know, where do you finish as a person and then you start as someone on stage? Because it's very much the same thing. Like, you are the job so much for everybody in this band. You know, you play music. It's hard to go, well, I'm going to go to work now, because it's everything you do, right?
It's kind of funny though, because funny you should say that, because I remember sort of having to almost distinctly create a character for the guy on stage, just to sort of consolidate that.
Yeah.
Because it's not really a normal state of being to get up on stage and perform to a room of people, or you know, a gigantic room of people, or like, you know, especially like outdoors, and you're playing to these sometimes enormous crowds. I remember like Home Bake and Big Day Out, and you kind of have to detach yourself a little bit from it.
So, and how would you do that? Because I've heard this before, and people would go, well, those are my gig shoes, or that's my gig jacket, and when I put that on, I change, and that's my new character. Did you do something like that?
I don't know. I don't know if
I have gig shoes.
Do you?
There you go.
Yeah.
So they're the gig shoes?
Yeah.
Yeah. And is that simply because they look really comfortable, like you've worn them a long time?
I've played a lot of gigs.
That's how we go. How we go on the mic down there?
I think it's all right.
Okay, cool. You've got a tough job tonight because you're controlling the mic of 3 different people. And I can see the beads of sweat already on the brow. But let's bring it forward to the new stuff. So there's new music. There's the new tour, which kicks off as well. I mean, we're in COVID land. You know, everywhere in Australia has COVID other than WA. Touch wood. How do you go planning a tour at the moment? I mean, what's it like?
You should ask us how we go postponing a tour.
Yeah.
Because that's more relevant.
How many times have you had to do that?
Oh, well, there's only... Well, I think technically we haven't actually postponed this tour yet. So all those... Yeah. It's very likely we are going to postpone the tour. It's just, I think, a matter of days until we
To be confirmed, to be postponed.
Yeah,
No, well, that's right. Yeah, we never cancel. We just always postpone, right? But it's really it's a tough time to be doing music. Like it's just difficult on so many different ways.
when isn't a tough time to do
Well,
it?
yeah, that's right. But what did you do in the lockdown last year and stuff? Were you writing these tunes, or like what did you do with your days?
You're asking really tough questions.
Well, mate, you don't come to this show for the light stuff.
We did spend a lot of time last year writing songs. And I think that was sort of the thing that got the band kind of back together in terms of injecting us with some, a new vitality and a new energy. Because for me, this band's always been about the songs. And I think that's why we didn't do it, say, 6-7 years ago, because I just didn't feel like the songs were there.
Yeah,
And
right.
over the last couple of years, we've all sort of developed a pretty big, almost a surplus now of new material.
Well, that's great. And so, what's the plan after this? To keep writing EPs or albums?
Oh, I mean, that's one of the funny things we sort of had to wrap our heads around coming back into it, was just how different the landscape is from even 10 or 15 years ago.
Every time I ask that question to a band, I go, "Oh, is this part of an EP?" And they go, "No, it's just a single.
Yeah.
release. It's a single
And
at the
I'm
moment."
really liking that.
Yeah.
That concept.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just being able, each song is just its own little guy, and you can just treat it how you want, and then sort of move on to the next one. It doesn't necessarily have to be that connector or.
No, absolutely. Vanessa, this is interesting. So you were in the band so many years ago, so like 17 years ago, roughly, at the very start, right?
He's done his research.
Oh, mate, I have. Wikipedia, I tell you what,
16
check it
years,
out.
9 months and 4 days, give or take.
That's right. You joined at 4:33 p.m. on Thursday. But you were there back in the early days, and then went off and played in a whole bunch of bands, did a whole bunch of things. Now you're back on this. But is this the first track that you've been recorded for End of Fashion on?
Yes. I was about to take the long way around to that, but I thought just go straight to it. Yeah.
Well, our research team does their research. That's quite amazing, though. All these years later, back with the band doing the stuff.
I spent last year not only learning new songs, but learning all the old ones, or relearning. It was actually amazing that some stuff just came back to me.
Yeah, right.
Muscle memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I was going to ask that, those parts that you would have played on tracks many, many, many years ago.
Yeah.
It's kind of all there in muscle memory?
A lot of it.
That's amazing.
Isn't
Actually,
it?
can I-
I'm amazing.
Actually, you are amazing. I mean, Vanessa, everybody, remembering her parts. Woo!
So Ness was like bass player 2, and then bass player 3 was, I think, Hugh Jennings, who actually came over and recorded the first album with us, and he's here.
Is it?
Yeah, sitting over there.
Hey. Let's get another chair. No, your job's got exponentially harder now. I'll put it over here too. We did a thing on Facebook and put up a post saying that if you could sit down with End of Fashion, ask one question, what would it be? And our mates at Atomic, we're going to handball a cold case of beers to the best question. And we do have a winner. You'll see that question on your screen right now, but I'll read it out. This one goes to Mr. Kieran Murphy, who said, "I've always loved the name, End of Fashion, and the concept behind it. However, if there was one fashion, old or new, that you would defend to the bitter end, what would it be?" So, End of Fashion, what would it be? You can answer this individually or collectively. The one bit of fashion that you're like, nope, I know it's terrible, or I know it's great, but it's going to be around.
Okanuis.
What's that?
Remember the old board shorts that had hibiscus on them? They were rather... I want an Okanui 3-piece suit with a top hat.
That's a great answer.
I'd probably just say a good pair of flares.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
and also, this is different. Anyone remember the stack hat? Oh, yeah. Hey, I'd go one of those again.
So stack hat and flares, maybe at the same time.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
See, that could
just
be your
for general wear.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You could wear that on stage. That could be your character.
I might get some for you
Oh,
as well.
Please do. I'll do the whole season like that.
Oh, okay, it's a deal.
It's
a
done.
deal.
Oh, what if we agreed to? Vanessa, what would you say?
Fashion, I would defend. I'm not really into fashion.
But you got wicked
but,
shoes on.
Well, yes, and I will probably have these for the rest of my life because, I mean, I still wear stuff that I wore 25 years ago. I still got shirts and T-shirts and stuff. like fashion for me is a lifetime.
Yeah. That's a good answer. What about you, Justin?
I would defend any fashion choice.
Anything.
Yeah,
Anything at all.
goes.
So you're saying if you rocked
that's
up and
a
did a
good
gig in
song.
Crocs, it would be completely that no one would be like, wow, that's amazing. Justin's wearing Crocs on stage.
Actually, no, that's not true. I know Nick's sitting here going, you're lying through your teeth right now,
Oh
mate.
yeah, why is that?
Because I'm a fashion Nazi. I'm like little Napoleon over here. I was like, you're not actually going to wear that on stage tonight, are you?
No, I wasn't.
No, of course not. What are you talking about? I don't know. I just like
Yeah.
I like timeless fashion, and
Yeah.
the classics, stripes, polka dots, wayfarers.
Yeah.
Flares are cool.
Yeah, flares are cool. I think flares, if I was someone wearing flares walking down the street, I'd be like, that guy looks wicked.
What about Dr. Martin boots?
Yeah.
They're never going to go out of fashion.
Absolutely.
No.
Then they last forever. Like they last 1,000 years, I've been told.
Apparently, I think the next big trend for men's fashion is high-waisted flares.
Ooh, okay, all right. There was a big no from the front row.
Yeah,
and then took a swig of
and
beer.
I'll defend them till the
To the
day I
end.
die.
So Mr. Kieran Murphy gets a case of atomic beer for that question, but there was an honourable mention as well to Pictures of Virginia, who are a Perth band. They sent a question through, which is a little, it could go south quite quickly. A musician's nightmare is to totally blank on stage for the next chord or the next set of lyrics. Have you ever had a blank moment on stage? And when was it? Bearing in mind you're about to get up and do another song, so I don't want to jinx anything. But is there a moment you go, like a big one, you go, oh, that was a real clanger, I just lost it?
Oh my God,
Can-
every week.
Yeah,
2005 to 2021.
I say once in a blue moon, like maybe every few months. It's just counting to 4. Let's face it. And then, but not just the song leaves. Everything leaves you.
Yeah.
Your name, just where you are, why you're here. You've got like just a matter of nanoseconds to get back to the program.
It's been like I've had a couple of eggy moments, not necessarily like playing the music because that does kind of become muscle memory, and
Yeah.
but I was in a show Rock of Ages about 10 years ago,
Yeah.
and I remember blanking pretty bad mid scene,
Oh.
and just like waffling on trying to find like, oh, yes, the thing with the chair and spiky balls, and people like the whole audience was like, this was not part of the script, surely. There's some avant-garde writing
Yeah.
going on here.
Did you find your track?
Yeah, I mean, we finished the show.
Well, you find, yeah.
I think everybody just continued around me.
Yeah, but there is that moment where your mind goes blank like that, and you feel yourself thinking, and then you see yourself on stage, and then you feel the blood rise, and you go, oh, I don't know, I'm going to get out of this.
Yeah.
So that's a great segue for a live song we're about to hear in a couple of moments. Like, you guys will be fun. You're professional. It'll be completely good. But the new single, which you're about to play in a moment, comes out tomorrow, which is really exciting. Where can we find this? Where can we get it tomorrow?
Everywhere, I suppose.
All
yes.
good retailers, as they used to say.
Yeah, it's on CD and cassette. And
You can find it. It'll be out tomorrow, and the tour, the dates will be on your screen right now for End of Fashion. Heading around the place, that's the way it's planned at the moment. But the 3rd of September at Badlands, 4th down at Margaret River, and then Clancy's on the 5th. They're down Dunsborough. But
all the WA shows are going ahead. Yeah.
100%. We've got it pretty good in WA. Please, in studio, give it up for End of Fashion, everybody. We're going to take a very short break here on Foxtel, right around Australia, when we return End of Fashion on this stage live with the new one, which is Ruby Lips, comes out tomorrow. Back in just a moment. See you in a moment. The Scene.
I'm gonna bite my tongue. I think a lot could pay. Your ruby lips be stung. A sweet lipstick stain. Oh, princess, you got the makings of the worst scheme I ever made. Well, do you think you get the right to start your petty little fight?
End of Fashion, everybody. Round of applause. Awesome stuff. That is the new single. It is out tomorrow. You can get it, of course, the tour around the country as well. Jump on the socials for The Scene. All the dates will be on there. Big thanks to our mates at Atomic. And, of course, Sound Centre Morley as well. We are back next Thursday evening with Will Udall. Catch you then. This is The Scene. Good night.